All right.
Hey, how goes it? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today I'm with my buddy I met actually in Porto, Portugal, which we'll get into, David Casey, CEO and founder of numundo.org.org. Hey, David, thanks for coming on the show. How goes the day?
It's great. Yeah, I'm actually back in Portugal today.
Oh, you are? What are you doing in Portugal?
The Web Summit just happened up in Lisbon, and down here in Lagos, in the south of the country, in a beautiful surf town, hanging out with my CTO and good friend.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, we met there at the Anarcha Portugal event, so shout out to Jessica Zartler for putting that together. That was a fun time, man.
Yeah, it was a really nice event, and I really enjoyed being part of the organizing team and connecting with a lot of really interesting thinkers from all around the world that are kind of pioneering thought in the crypto and blockchain space, and kind of like how it relates to the economics and politics of our times and where we might go from here.
Yeah, and you know what? We're going to get into that for sure. But first, I want you to introduce yourself. Let everybody know who's tuned in, who you are, and what you do.
Yeah, my name is David Casey. I am originally grew up in California, but my parents are both foreigners, Europeans, so I got to grow up traveling a lot and seeing family in different countries, which really opened my mind to the kind of global perspective of the world today. And I went to school for political economy of industrial societies. So I've always been fascinated by monetary systems, international trade, like the cogs that make the system run. But I was a little bit disillusioned, really going into the depths of how the global monetary system runs today, how politics are run on a national and international scale. And I decided I didn't really want to be directly involved in supporting that system. So that led me on a journey to explore alternative ways of living, alternative ways of being, alternative economies, and really like went around the world for a couple years, visited a lot of places, kind of trying to go off the grid or do economics in a different way and not be kind of like not be so dependent on centralized systems. So I think like a big part of our dilemma today that we find ourselves in goes back to the fact that most engines of our economy, whether it's like production of food or production of energy, are controlled by like a few centralized players, whether they're private corporations or governments, and that leads to a lot of problems and abuses. And so that's kind of like a little bit about my background. And part of my passion is producing transformational events. So like the Anarcha Portugal conference was one of them where
I was definitely transformed, bro. That was, again, bravo. Great job. Next year, guys, you got to go if you're listening, Anarcha Portugal.
yeah, really, really nice event. And it was a really fun opportunity to bring together like thinkers as well as folks involved more in the like somatic and body healing, like yoga, tantra, these kinds of healing therapies, and bringing together different people from different fields is always a passion of mine. I started a international music festival a few years ago down in Guatemala. That's called the Cosmic Convergence, and that's happens every New Year. So it's coming right up in Guatemala, and it's about 3,000 people from 100 countries. People come together to share different cultures, and the indigenous culture of Guatemala is like something that we're really passionate about sharing. It's a really strong native culture. They've really been able to retain their local traditions, and so that's another passion of mine is indigenous cultures, native cultures from around the world, because there were many systems before the current one, and I think we have a lot to learn from our ancestors and the previous kind of systems that existed before.
Yeah, we have to know our history to learn from it.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
got it. So that's another passion of mine. And event production is like something I've been involved in for the past decade. So that's, festivals, conferences, retreats, ceremonies, workshops, all sorts of things.
Yeah, crypto is kind of what got me into like alternative lifestyles in a sense. I was kind of like an introvert, I never really went out. I did, video games and work. That's all I ever did. And thanks to crypto, I had the financial freedom to, travel and experience other cultures, and it is definitely something I desire. When I'm home back at, where I'm familiar, I just desire to be somewhere uncomfortable. In the sense that I mean unfamiliar. Like in Portugal, walking around for 4 hours lost at 2 a.m. That was amazing. It wasn't, like getting lost here in New Jersey. It was
Mm-hmm.
Portugal, and yeah, the whole like mixing of cultures, it really does happen in the crypto space more than most industries, I believe, because it's a worldwide technology, worldwide currency. Code is a universal language. All nerds, devs speak the same code. If they're coding on Ethereum, it's Solidity or whatever. But yeah, dude, you were talking about the party in Guatemala for New Year's.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, we're actually launching a Cosmic Convergence Festival token, kind of stealthily. This is the first time I'm talking about it publicly. But
Whoa.
yeah,
Wait, so all right, I want to dig into that a little bit because I was just gonna say I really want to go. Like I think this may be something I may attend for New Year's, man. Because like I said, I desire. I'm like addicted to culture shocks. It's like
mm,
an adrenaline rush of education. You just learn so much when you're surrounded by such difference, and you also realize it's not that different. It's really a surreal feeling to be somewhere. Like I said, I'm 30 and I didn't travel till I was 29. So
wow.
traveling, it really is like I physically feel like a rush walking through like Vancouver, Portugal, Barcelona, Ibiza, Monaco, Bahamas. Like I've literally traveled the world this year, so I really am, seeing the importance of people learning other cultures and traveling. And I see that you've done this for a while with the event planning and traveling yourself. So I guess this is where like numundo.org kind of ties in. Can you explain a little bit about the platform and what they do before we dive into the token for the event?
Yeah, sure. And we'd love to have you speak at the event, by the way, if you do make it down.
Oh, dude. See, now I have to go, guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, so I'll talk about New Mundo a little bit and our philosophy of decentralization. So New Mundo was really born out of my travels and conversations with hundreds of travelers around the world that were looking for a uh, kind of a different way to live and a different way to be that's outside of, let's call it the matrix for now. And just like, how do we kind of like find places where we're not burdened by these normal kind of stresses of society, like all the anxieties and stresses that lead to all these problems we see in cities today: drug addiction, depression, violence, suicide, etc. And that's kind of like part of my passion also, is like, what are the other ways where we can organize as humans that will be more harmonious? So New Mundo is really born out of that desire, and the desire to like create and make apparent that there are many spaces around the world that people are trying to really build a different system. And that's it could be like systems for like how to grow your own food and produce your own energy and build your own structures out of natural materials. Or we also work with places like yoga retreat centers, ayahuasca retreat centers, tantra meditation, and these kind of ancient practices of individual self-betterment, kind of individual reflection. Let's call it transformation. That's what we really
Mm.
focus on, is transformational experiences. And really the mission, like one of the things that I'm most passionate about, is supporting someone's growth and transformation from like I want to travel, I want to like experience something different, to discovering one's passions, learning skills, and then linking those skills to an actual kind of career or lifestyle. And so really our goal is to get people through that process to where they've really discovered what they're here for, like what they love doing, and how that can transform into a lifestyle and a career.
Hey, without hanging up, you may want to try to turn off your camera, turn back on your camera. Somebody in the comments, William said the ginger is frozen.
Oh no.
But yeah, dude, as you were speaking, I actually was thinking of, there you go, the ability to implement this for the homeless population, to give them skills, or maybe they have skills, or something that, you know, or they could be a tour guide or whatever. There's a lot of potential to help, the population of like another country, you know, when people from a first world country go and visit, you know, instead of taking advantage of the people there, you can contribute more. Is there anything like that happening with New Mundo? Is that like in the roadmap?
Yeah, so basically we have about 700 impact centers is the word we call them today around the world in 100 countries. And the reason we use the term impact center is because we believe that each of them are centers for positive social and environmental impact. So some of them may be focused on like Amazon reforestation. Some may be focused on clean water projects for the local population. So there's all sorts of kind of social and environmental volunteering opportunities that we have in our network and ways to give back.
Where are these sites located? Because that's a lot of activation centers, man.
Yeah, we have centers in 100 countries, but as the network was birthed in Latin America, that's definitely where the concentration of our centers are. So like Costa Rica, Peru, Mexico, Ecuador, Colombia.
So why is that? What's the appeal there?
Great question. So it is definitely a part of the world where the kind of I've heard some people say it's like the kind of like the heart. There's a lot of heart there. So there's a lot of projects that have emerged, both started by locals as well as started by expats and foreigners, that are focused around getting people back to their heart and getting people kind of reconnected to nature. So another part of our belief is that a large part of the problems in society today are because humans are disconnected from nature and from like close community, because in the past, we lived in these small tribal groups where we were kind of really close to the people around us, and also really connected to the natural cycles, the cycles that, you know, provided for our food, when would be a good time to hunt, the full moon, etc. And
this would be like under 100 people tribes, right? I think anything over that was kind of like chaos then.
Yeah, they call I think it's like Dunbar's number or something. There's like this 150 person magic number that, like, if the group is within that number, there's these like strong family and community ties that really increase the chance of the tribe's survival.
I see blockchain technology bringing us back to that. The ability for like the whole like micro economy doesn't just mean micro transactions. It means micro interactions.
Yeah, and like for me, a huge part of my attraction to blockchain technology is if you imagine like a crypto community, almost like a tribe, and you basically kind of magnetize this tribe together from around the world based on a common set of values or interests or passions. And to take that a step further, our vision is to really collect this tribe in physical locations in our network and bring the tribe together in the flesh. Because if we have these shared values and shared sets of beliefs, and we come together in the physical world, I think we can really come together to build a new reality.
No, you're right. So how are you incorporating blockchain technology into, you know, lifestyle experiences?
Totally, yeah. So on the one end, we are integrating crypto payments in the next couple weeks with our partners at Coin Payments, who I think you might have connected with.
Yeah, dude, I love Coin Payments. I fucking love you, Coin Payments.
Yeah. Shout out to Samir. And so basically step one is just allowing people to use cryptocurrency to book these experiences around the world and introduce crypto payments to our hosts. So like I got into crypto in about 2015 just because it was a super practical way to do payments, cross-border payments around the world, especially in countries where the banking system wasn't that developed. And it was just the best, fastest, cheapest solution I could find. And that really turned me on to the community. And when you think about like crypto being the decentralization of money, we believe that to really truly have a decentralized economy, we need to think about these things like food and water and energy, and how can we create decentralized systems of production, consumption, and distribution of those kind of basic resources. So for me, it's like even though it may be weird for some people, it's like what is the synergy between this like high tech blockchain and crypto community, right, and like kind of going back to nature and etc. But for me, it is like that kind of alignment around decentralization and that philosophy, that kind of more libertarian philosophy of kind of building a society in a way that is decentralized and really brings power back to the individual and the community.
Well, yeah, it totally enables the ability to be a tribe without conforming to the economic, surroundings, without having to conform to any society's, regulations. You don't have to. You can ignore it at this point. You don't have to acknowledge the governance surrounding you, especially if you're a small, like you said, in third world countries, or not even like other countries have to deal with a lot of oppression from the governments around them, and then economically they get taken advantage of, especially when trying to move finances around the world. A lot gets skimmed off the top or stolen altogether. So they're disincentivized to even participate and become a contributor to society and earn. And now it's possible to be a small tribe, in a sense, and go back to that village-esque mentality of saying, this is what we all agree on. Yeah, all right, then we are governanced by ourselves.
Yeah, and governance is something that's super exciting for me. And we have this platform, we have this network of hundreds of places, and we've been developing our own platform token, NuCoin, which isn't released yet.
That's is that NU or?
NU, you got it, yeah. And that will be really the token of our network on the platform, utility, etc.
Right. What would be the use case? What's the utility behind the token? What do I get as a holder or as a user or as an acceptor of the token?
Yeah. So there's a few layers to it. On the very basic platform layer, you can think of it like Binance Coin. It decreases the transaction fees of any payment made on the platform. For the hosts in our network, there's benefits to holding it, to becoming kind of more visible on the platform. So there's a few of these kind of on-platform utility.
So holding a lot of it would be like more of a reputation building.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And these are kind of like the very basic uses. We're developing some much more interesting uses that, as you say, governance. So this is something I'm super excited about. We are in the midst of acquiring our first property, and we plan to have network properties that are essentially all services on those properties will be transacted in the token. But the more interesting part is that through the token, there will be governance exercised upon those properties. So it will be like a kind of experiment in governance and how we can utilize kind of this network swarm, crowdsourced collective intelligence to make proposals in and how we manage properties.
Like a nation state on the blockchain. That is pretty damn
going
cool.
Towards that, right? Yeah,
right.
A decentralized one, right?
Well, that's the point, though, right? And
exactly.
we could fork at any time if that's what we as a consensus agree upon, changing the rules of the society that we have all agreed to participate in. But the point is, we agree to participate.
Exactly, and that's something that has me really excited about blockchain governance, properties, and then kind of combine that with the awesome skills we have in our network of people that are literally able to build the technology and the farming systems to go off the grid so that we become independent from fiat systems.
Mm-hmm. So when's this platform launch? Like, when can I start going on, lifestyle enhancements, excavations, so to speak? When can I start using the platform?
Yeah, today. It's
Oh,
been live. It's been live. We have hundreds of places. We will be integrating coin payments later this month. I won't put a date on it for sure, but definitely next month you'll be able to pay in crypto for experiences on the platform, which is super exciting. But yeah, it's live. It's
so
going.
so you've had people run through the platform, go through these experiences. What are some of the experiences like that people have gone on? What's some of the feedback that you've gotten, and what are some of maybe the desired things people would like to see on the platform?
Yeah. So a lot of experience have to do with what did you call it? Self-enhancement, self-betterment.
Yeah.
Things like yoga, tantra, plant medicine like ayahuasca, kind of like traditional cleansings. So all sorts of things on that respect. On the kind of more self-sufficiency, homesteading, off-grid side, um, there's been some renewable energy stuff. Permaculture design is a big focus
Okay.
of ours because that's like, I think really it's like the science of creating a human settlement that's self-sufficient and can subsist permanently without kind of outside inputs. And I think that's like a really key skill for humans in the future to become truly sovereign. We need to understand like how to meet our own needs without depending on kind of large centralized systems, governments, corporations, etc. So that's like some of the experiences that people have had. The feedback coming, and this is like what people like myself who are traveling around the world and a lot of our team also want, are places where we can go, be comfortable, have great food, but also a good internet connection and be working. Especially if you're like a crypto trader or something, you obviously need a good internet connection. A lot of these places are like off the grid in the jungle. So we've been looking more and more at building out another layer of our network that's like
That is a beautiful byproduct. You see that, right? You see
yeah,
this.
yeah,
That wouldn't even be a so there wouldn't be the need for Wi-Fi or internet, so the infrastructure wouldn't be there. But now that you've done this, and there is people that have a need, now it's going to be there for the people that are there. Like, that is a beautiful byproduct, bro. That as a result of people enhancing their own well-being and the environment around them while traveling the world, they are also building layers of infrastructure as they go. Dude, that's freaking
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so that's something we're really working on, and like to think about what would a decentralized home and community look like for one of us, a digital nomad who likes to move countries every couple weeks or every few weeks, but still want to feel that feeling of community, of connection with like-minded tribe. And so really we're looking at how to build out that network of spaces, which is going great right now. And that's
So
something I'm really excited about.
what's the average cost on something like this? If somebody wanted to, go into the platform today, visit numundo.org and, up and leave and experience the world, what's like an average cost that the platform would charge? And, what's some of the things that you get along with using the platform?
Yeah, so like an average experience, there's a wide range from like more budget to more luxury. But let's say there's like 50 to $100 a day. In most places will be like a place to stay as well as food. Often there's some kind of instruction like yoga, something like that. And then beyond that, there's more kind of intensive workshops and retreats that would run a little more expensive. And then on the other side, there's more like the kind of volunteering work trade. So
Oh, so you can do
often
like crypto missionary work.
totally. So yeah, like often there's centers that will fully kind of house someone, give them room and board in exchange for like a key skill set, like digital
Hell
marketing or
yeah.
something.
Dude, I want to do this and open up crypto wallets. Like, house me, feed me, and I will help you set up a node and show you how to become your own village bank. And that, dude, I could
Exactly.
do that, man. That would be hella cool. Are
Exactly.
you seeing as you travel or as people use the platform, and what's the feedback on crypto acceptance? Are you seeing people's interests where they're having some difficulties economically and utilizing the technology? Are they utilizing the currency as well?
Yeah. So like like I said, I started using crypto in 2015 for international cross-border payments, mostly to our hosts, and they all saw the value of the technology in like instant global transfers that didn't take days to complete, 10, 20, 30, $40 sometimes. Sometimes the bank would hold up the transfer and be like, who is where is it coming from, et cetera. So like there's a very clear use case on just like the pure tech level. And we're really, I guess you could call us crypto missionaries in a sense, because we're working to get all of these hosts in our network to accept cryptocurrency payments. And where that's not possible, we're looking at solutions that kind of instantly convert cryptocurrency into local cash. So like a shout out to Smart Cash, who's doing a great job with that in Brazil.
Yeah, I have one of their wearables somewhere around here. It's like this MasterCard bracelet, and if I go to Brazil, I can spend Smart Cash pretty much anywhere. Anywhere MasterCard's accepted. It's really cool.
It's incredible, and that's the kind of like offline tech that I think is going to be instrumental to crypto adoption in the developing countries, a lot of which we work in. And Brazil is a huge country, so that solution that you just described is like pretty monumentally for us. We're looking into it right now, and I think they're really some of the people leading the way in those kinds of crypto to fiat interface solutions that are low tech, don't even rely on internet. I think that one, they have an offline solution.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know Venezuela is really big on Dash right now. I think there's like over 2,000 merchants that started accepting it because of the currency there is collapsing at a rapid pace. And Dash has their treasury, so they're like totally pumping it in Venezuela. But it's cool to see that countries that are being disenfranchised by big banks are looking for solutions. They're not just rolling over. They're experimenting. They're interested. To see that they're willing to take the risk because it's worth their reward. I mean, can't get much worse than being pushed out of a financial inclusion in all of world economics. You can now start to include yourself. You don't need anybody's permission, and again, you don't have to conform. It keeps you like we lost a lot of culture along the way, conforming to not just, not saying like big banks caused all of it, but a lot of culture is lost due to conformity to just work with each other, to do international trade and things of that nature. And it sucks because I would like to know the world as it was as opposed to the world as it is, and it's only going to get more similar. It's not going to get any more different. We're headed to a similarity where the
similarity.
Yeah, it's so weird. I could see one pigment, a dominant pigment, a dominant hair color, and we all look very similar in the future because genetics are dominant features over time. We breed into it, and even society, the way the buildings are starting to look and the roads and everything, it just, even the signs, all the signs look the same whenever I travel. It's just different writing. I'm like, damn, way to conform. Like, where's the culture? So to see the ability to opt out of conformity and build around your culture utilizing the technology like blockchain, I don't know, maybe we can get weird in the future. Maybe we don't have to see so much similarity. Maybe we'll see that tribal difference, how there used to be towns in cities and cities in states and states in countries, and now they all kind of look like that, what's that song? Little houses on the hillside, little houses made of ticky-tacky. That song from Weeds, man. It's like how the world's starting to look to me. But I think that this is empowering indifference, and I think it's a beautiful thing, dude. So where do you see, because we met at InanItah, Portugal. I wanted to see what your thoughts are on like the anarchist, libertarian, the whole the non-conformity aspects of society that are adopting this. The one percenters are the anarchists. The libertarian sides are really what are like interested in this technology. Why do you think that is? And do you see that this enables the ability for a third party and such?
Why do I think that the one percenters, as in the like kind of top wealth class, are interested in
No,
libertarianism, cryptocurrency, etc.? Or
no, like why are so many anarchists interested in
oh,
crypto? Like
I see what
what,
you're
you know,
saying.
so like what is it's such a powerful tool. How do you
Yeah.
see them using it? And you know, just moving forward, that whole community, which is considered like, you know, a fourth party, not even a third party yet.
Hmm.
I could see Libertarian Party being up there with the red and blue because of this. Do you?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now I understand your question better. Yeah, I think that like decentralization as a philosophy is kind of empowering to individuals, to communities, and it really like through blockchain technology, it opens up the possibility to build decentralized systems and solutions for all sorts of things that beforehand we needed a trusted third party, such as a bank or a government or an institution like PayPal or Uber or Airbnb. And now we really have the tools to collectively, as a kind of group of people and voluntarily, to propose a solution. So, like, I have some friends. I don't know if you met James Anderson or Max Borders. James is at InanItah, Portugal, and they're doing something really interesting called social evolution.
Social evolution sounds
Yeah,
familiar.
yeah, they'd be great ones to interview as well. So they're really creating the solution for groups of people to come together and provide collective, kind of like create collective funding pools to provide services like insurance or things that were formerly provided by large institutions, and allow kind of a transparent blockchain ledger and a kind of consensus protocol to allow groups of people to come together and collectively and voluntarily provide these things for themselves. I'm super curious about like if you think about the last thousands of years as like a few thousand experiments in governance, nation states, empires, city states like, you know, Venice and Florence, but now it's like there's a couple hundred large scale governance systems going on, and they're mostly pretty similar, right? Like what you said with the similarity, right? They're like
Unfortunately.
not that democratic, two parties that kind of seem like one. In some cases, it's just one party, like the Communist Party in China,
Yeah.
that doesn't seem that communist. But anyway, so like what I'm excited about is the potential for thousands of governance experiments
Yep.
to happen in the coming years, because I think governance is a kind of it's a thing, and this is like a friend of mine that I'm borrowing some of this thought from, but it's something that we haven't innovated on that much recently, and I think blockchain technology has the potential to speed up innovation in governance through many micro experiments. So like Liberland is one of them. That was another guy at InanItah, Portugal, making like a little microstate in Europe. So I think that there's going to be more experiments like that in the future, and that's something exciting for folks that believe in decentralization and in kind of more libertarian philosophies of power devolving back to the kind of the base rather than being concentrated at the
Yep.
top of the hierarchy. So those are some of the reasons I think that anarchists and libertarians are super interested in the emergence of this technology. I also have some friends in Japan who have built software that enables a micronation or a local government to implement a lot of governance functions on a blockchain and through a token. They're called Commons OS, and they're building some really sweet technology and already working with, I think, 9 local municipalities in Japan. So they're rolling it out.
See, this is what I mean. See, even Japan's like, let's experiment with this.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you have to. Yeah, and you know, everyone's saying that Bitcoin is in a bubble, doesn't understand that it isn't currency. It's technology that can be used as a currency. I would much rather say build with Bitcoin than buy or spend. You know, right now it is an underdeveloped currency, underdeveloped technology, and we need people to build with it. You know, I use it, I spend it, I earn it, I do what I can with it. I'm not a developer, but if I could develop, like Steve Wozniak said at the crypto investment summit I was at. He only owns one Bitcoin, and he said that's all I ever need to experiment with. You know, I'm gonna build with it. I'm gonna break some of it. I'm gonna try to do things with it. But for me, it is a technology, not a money. And for me personally, for him, it was a technology, not a money. But for me, it's a money, not a technology, because I can't really use it to build. I can use it to spend. So it's, you know, really cool to see that there's so many ways to contribute to this as a whole moving forward. And even Japan experimenting with their governance, which is crazy that their government would allow somebody to experiment with governance. And a lot of people don't understand the difference. Get a dictionary, look into that. But yeah, there's a really big difference in being a part of a government or agreeing to be part of something that is self-governed, and that is governance. Let's see. What are your thoughts on different currencies? Like, you know, you're creating a token for a utility. A lot of people are giving, you know, utility token shit right now and talking about the use of like security tokens. You know, did you see that video on the utility tokens on Twitter, the lemonade stand?
Oh yeah, I actually saw that as it was released. I believe it was the State of the dApps event in Prague at DevCon.
Okay.
It was a little dinner, and they just showed the video. It's like on the playa at Burning Man, except it's empty, right? And the guy's trying to get lemonade.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if like what their intent was behind that, because I don't know. So what was your take on that? Like the way that you know the community is looking towards utility tokens and how it's, I guess in a shortened phrase, they're too cumbersome, you know, like there's too many steps. I don't know. That video kind of rubbed me the wrong way about utilities. And as a creator of one, I just wanted to see what your perspective is on utility tokens. Are they too cumbersome?
Yeah, so I think for me that video was a very kind of frank and almost like self-deprecating, which is healthy in times where there's like a lot of hype and a lot of BS, to put it frankly.
Vaporware.
It was, yeah. This was a very frank kind of like, this is where we're at today, in a joking way. You know, like let's like make fun of ourselves because, you know, it's that time of year. And it was at this event in Prague that was they were giving awards to the different dApps and the different application builders. And it was actually refreshing for me to see it, because there has been so much kind of hype in the space. And it was like a bit of a reality check. But I have a very optimistic view for utility tokens in the future. I think that there's kind of like two camps that I've found in my journeys. One is the more like monoculture, Microsoft, Google, Facebook. There's going to be like 5 currencies that win the whole thing in the future, and that's it, and all the other ones will go away. And then there's the other kind of like multiplicity bloom of tokens. Every restaurant has their own token. Every business has their own token. And I'm more of the second camp. I believe that there are a lot of kind of reasons that a token makes sense, even for like a small microeconomy and for a community building, to create like a circular economic flow. So for example, one of the benefits we're working on with our token is to create a network of infrastructure providers of things like solar panels, aquaponics systems, infrastructure that allows people to go off the grid and become less dependent on fiat currency and any currency really, and allow to pay for those infrastructure products at a discount in our token. So it's kind of like a network economy that you can incentivize a circular flow of value within a system to create more and more value within that system. Mm-hmm. So I'm positive on utility tokens as a whole, as a concept. I know there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of tokens that actually don't have any utility right now.
Yeah, they're working on building a platform eventually. That's when it will have a utility. Until then, it's not a utility token. But that's how they're trying to get around it, at least regulations wise. By definition, you know, the utility's coming.
And I think a lot of those will disappear. That's kind of happening.
How I see utility tokens is just as better gift cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, exactly.
Gift cards suck. Why would you have $1,000 in Starbucks where you have it locked into that gift card, and all you can do with that money is now go to Starbucks. Now, what if Starbucks goes away or you move and Starbucks isn't located there? And what the hell is it? Is there a, like, you know, all the steps that you have to go through just to get that Starbucks gift card is the same steps that you go through to get a utility token, except you get no utility out of holding your value on that company's gift card. You get no benefit, no discount, no nothing. There's no incentive for you to keep your capital in their market cap, other than, I guess, the convenience of giving it to somebody. That's an inconvenience. That's a burden when you give somebody a gift card. It really is. So, you know, a utility token is a gift card with incentive behind it, and actual, like, I would say, you know, smart. It's a smart gift card. I don't know. It's like, why would you go to the store and buy that Starbucks one when you can get the Visa one and go anywhere?
Yeah, and the really interesting thing you can do with utility tokens is implement governance, and that's, I think, a big part of the future. That's one of the reasons that personally I'm so interested in crypto and blockchain, and having a network token is to be able to allow our network to participate in governance, participate in decision making, and that's something that
well, that's where customers now are part of the community of the company, right? Like, that's
exactly.
I go to the same convenience store for the past 10 years and they still ask me for my ID when I want to get a blunt. It's kind of insulting that they take the personal interaction out of a personal interaction, you know, and I feel like I have no say in anything, and I spend thousands of dollars at the store every year, and you know, it doesn't feel right. And having the ability now to be part of it and to have a say, and because of the amount of value I contribute, that's empowering as somebody who wants to be a part of something, you know, or utilize something for what it can do.
Yeah, so I guess to answer your question, I think I'm positive on utility tokens as, you know, better gift cards at the very basic level. And with security tokens, I think that's not something I'll comment on too much, but I think right now it's just like liquid equity that actually we do have prior solutions for, like, exchanging private equity on closed marketplaces. This is a technological improvement, just like, you know, Bitcoin for me was just a much easier way to send money. It was like email for money. So that's interesting. I think the real innovations in security tokens are yet to come in terms of, like, programming smart equity. And that's something that's super interesting, but also super early days.
Well, in a sense, with the new coin, would I be able to have equity in land? I think you mentioned earlier something about being able to purchase.
Yeah, so basically it's redeemable. It will be redeemable for the experiences and the stays and the product of these properties, but it will also be a tool to exercise governance over those properties, and that's, I think, something really interesting that not too many people are doing. So that's something that I'm personally super interested about, the potential of tokens.
Speaking of super interested, I just totally have to backtrack like an hour. You mentioned that the event has its own token that you'll be launching next week, I think you said?
Yep.
Dude,
yeah,
let's get into that, because like I said, now that you said I could speak there, I need to know more details.
Yeah, so we are partnering with the Native platform, a really amazing platform that is focused on helping communities launch community currencies. And like you said, a token is a better gift card. So we're taking that philosophy and combining it with some governance aspects. So people that hold a certain amount of tokens become members of the festival and are able to propose, like, which artists that they want to see booked, or things like that, right? Or also there will be membership benefits inside the festival. So, like, say, free drinks, for example. So these are some of the kind of membership and governance benefits we can bake into a token. Something also I'm thinking that, and we're still kind of, I think all token economies are experiments right now, but one of the experiments I'm excited about is looking at how we can reward token holders who really believe in the festival by fixing the price of the token to the ticket. Whereas the dollar amount of the ticket goes up each year as the festival grows and the tickets become more valuable, the offerings of the festival become larger. We're looking at fixing the ticket price of like one ticket for X tokens, so that relative to the dollar value of a ticket, the token will become more and more valuable over time as the ticket becomes valuable over time.
That is interesting. Would that be could that cause a problem for the value of the token to never surpass the value of the ticket dollar wise?
It would be it would basically fix the token at the ticket. So like
it would be it would be like a stable token
exactly.
almost.
But it would be stable against the ticket
That's
and not
cool.
against the dollar amount of the currency, right? So
I
it
like
kind
that.
of it's like wedded to the growth of the festival, and that's like a real practical solid
have a token in here
that
is pretty cool. Hold on.
It's like a festival token.
I have
right?
100 tokens over here right now. There we go. So I have these that are backed and pegged to a Big Mac.
There you go.
So as
So
the
it's
Big Mac goes up in dollar value, I can still get a Big Mac for this token. So
Yep.
I could always get it. That is, dude, you're on the next level, man. That is pretty freaking interesting.
And it provides something that's really cool. So like, for example, we have people like vendors who come and sell clothing, they come and sell food, and we can allow them to pay their vendor fee in the token, which incentivizes them to earn or accept the token for as a form of payment for their products. Because if they pay in the token, it's going to be cheaper over time than if they pay with US dollars or local currency, quetzales, Guatemalan quetzales. So that's a way that we can incentivize the circular economy of the festival, in that everyday individuals and participants can use the token to actually buy things from the vendors, not just come to our bar, not just come to kind of official festival merchandise places, but also the general vendors throughout the festival. And so that's, yeah.
Are these all on the Ethereum blockchain? How is the token built?
Yeah, it's an ERC20.
Okay, cool. So any ERC20 token wallet would be able to hold this. What kind of exchanges could we be possibly looking at, just in case like people wanted to check out an exchange to see where new coin, or what was the name of the event token?
It will be the Cosmic Coin.
Cosmic Coin. So like these will be on like Ethereum exchanges, like DEX or something.
Yeah, and the actual native platform will be the first place to host the Cosmic token, which is, I don't know if you can call it an exchange, but something like that. Yeah.
All right, I'll put the link to that, guys, in the description box below so you can check it out. There's already a link in the description if you guys are listening and you want to check out more about like numundo.org and what they do, and you wanted to maybe see some of the lifestyle experiences that they offer, or self-betterment courses, or if you wanted to travel, or even if you wanted to be like a crypto missionary, man, and just travel the world and help make the world a more better blockchain-y space, go check out the link in the description box below. Is there anything that you wanted to touch on before we wrap things up? I know I could do this forever. I wanted to see maybe if you wanted to touch on things like the psychedelic aspect of blockchain, where tangled networks and all, because I feel like Satoshi must have been a psychonaut, right?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there are a couple more points to touch on. Definitely. One of them, as you were speaking and just letting people know about the opportunities in our network, we are planning to launch a couple of new opportunities for people to become more directly involved. Through one will be like a learning cohort where we're going to work with a group of people over a period of weeks. And a lot of the education will be around becoming a nomad, becoming a digital nomad, the travel lifestyle, how to do it on a budget, how to transition, let's say, from the stationary lifestyle.
That is a good word. It is definitely a transition.
Yeah. And then we'll have a kind of retreat for that kind of skill set. Coming, we haven't announced it yet, but it will be kind of Q1 or Q2 of 2019, where we'll have a retreat in person at a center in our network, most likely in Costa Rica, where we'll be doing a lot of in-person workshops and things like that. So stay tuned for that. And then on the kind of psychedelic aspect of blockchain, psychedelic aspect of our network, actually, I wrote an article a couple years ago. I'll definitely send it to you after so we can plug that in. And it was about my experiences with ayahuasca, which is a ancient plant and ancient technology that came out of the Amazon rainforest, and is it's a plant that's used for healing, for the body, for the mind, for the heart, but also for really like having visions of the future. And so the kind of the tribal shamans and medicine men used it to inform themselves of coming dangers, of like when it was time to move camp, if there was a enemy tribe planning something, if the season was changing and they needed to like harvest the crops early. So it was used kind of for seeing into the future. And they say it connects the past, present, and future. And that is really key medicine that inspired me to create this network. It is medicine that is legal in a number of countries in South America and has a ceremonial practice for over 5,000 years. So it's an amazing medicine, and definitely it's something that like safe places for ayahuasca ceremonies are one service that our network provides.
I was just going to ask if that's something that you could provide, because I've been interested in having a ayahuasca journey. I wouldn't call it a trip. I've heard stories, and it's more of a journey. And I've tripped. I have mushrooms tattooed on my back. That's how much I love psychedelic mushrooms. And I've been microdosing and just generally dosing on LSD the past 2 months. Just as a form of medicine to fight a form of depression I've been stuck in. But yeah, I would love to go on a journey, a safe, guided journey on ayahuasca. And you're saying this is something I could use your platform to do. So as an interested customer, what would the process be like? Walk me through using the platform and going through and signing up and everything.
Yeah, so we have two directories, one directory of retreat centers and locations, and then another directory of experiences. And both directories are filterable by your interest. So if permaculture or yoga or plant medicine is kind of what you want to narrow your search for, you can use those filters, and you can also filter geographically and filter based on location.
Oh, cool.
And so you can really kind of narrow down what you're looking for. Like I said, Latin America is where a lot of our experiences are based. So I'm also happy to talk to individuals, like if someone's looking for something and wants a recommendation. So like feel free to reach out after. And basically once you find experience or a location that you're interested in, you can message them on the platform. You can directly book. You can request to book if it's something that is not necessarily, it's more like an application, not necessarily something that everyone's accepted for. And like I said, you'll be able to do all of these very soon with major cryptocurrencies. But
awesome.
for the next week or two, it's we're still in fiat currencies.
Oh, I'm gonna have to wait a week or two because I'm all out of fiat, but I am definitely gonna be checking out the platform. That hey guys, stay tuned for my ayahuasca journey. Using numundo.org to basically expedite my lifestyle or life experience journey. I know it's funny. Everybody wants to be like the Uber or Facebook of something. It's kind of like you're like the Expedia of life experiences. That's pretty cool. It's not just a vacation; it's an experience.
Yeah, I say like a vacation is something for people to go to and then go back to their life. What we're looking more at is a journey where you go somewhere and then you move forward. You don't go back. It's only forward.
No, dude, you're right. There is only forward. Dude, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Again, one last chance. Is there anything that we may have left off the table that people should know? In 2 weeks' time, via coin payments, you guys will be able to use crypto on numundo.org. And in about a week's time, you'll be able to get Cosmic Coin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be going really soon.
Then that will be the event in Guatemala, correct?
Yeah, and we do have some of the same speakers from InanItah, Portugal coming, and we'll be, introducing our community down in Latin America to blockchain technology and crypto. And definitely we're open to more speakers if people feel passionate about blockchain and its uses and its potential in governance and in social impact. These are definitely topics that we'd love to have people speak about and share.
And when's the launch of New Coin again?
That will be mid-year, early to mid-year next year.
All
Don't
right.
have a date set yet.
All right, no, cool, man. Yeah, I like that you're not trying to rush into anything and overhype or whatever. You're just trying to, adopt and experiment. Like you're saying, it's all token experimentation right now, and what you're doing is really cool. I think that you're onto something with the whole life experiences and the incorporation of a token, because utility tokens, I don't think people have that third eye for utility tokens, right? They're very blinded by the way life is now, and it can't possibly work any other way. I feel like in 5 years, as a customer, when you look back, you'll think, how could you have ever done business with a company that didn't include you in some
Hmm.
way, form, or another in decision making or anything? It seems almost like customer slavery right now that people aren't woken up to, and that the ability of a utility token changes that. The only thing that kind of freaks me out is the ability to potentially whale a platform, 51% attack in a sense, but that's where things fork and communities choose to use one thing over the attacked other thing. We've saw that with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. So the future is bright, guys. It's not. We haven't hit the bubble point yet. Everybody wants to say we're in a bubble.
Mm.
I think the only thing in a bubble is comments about being in a bubble. David, thank you again for joining me. Shout out to Numundo, that's .org, and there's links in the description box below. Check it out, and if you decide to use the platform, come back to this video, comment below your experience, and I'll have you on the podcast to talk about your experience with Numundo.org. All right, guys, pound that thumbs up button. Don't forget to click subscribe and flick that little alert bell. It's right next to the subscribe button. That way you get an alert every time I go live. All right, thanks, Dave. Have a day.
All right. Thank you, Ken.